For day 11 of our December marathon, today we will be giving you guys 17 best moments for John Cena. Never seen 17. We will give you guys those moments. And yeah, these aren't necessarily in order. These are just moments I think when you think about John Cena, ones that to us stick out or just favorite moments in particular. So yeah, we'll probably miss out a few and some ones that should definitely be on here compared to other ones. But yeah, this is just our list of 17 moments that we really love from John Cena. And we're going to kick things off with the one that happened this year, probably the biggest moment of his career, arguably, and that's going to be his heel turn at Elimination Chamber this past year in 2025. But yeah, this is something that I think changed the entire landscape of wrestling at that moment in time, because now we went from Cena going against some of the heels to now you're going to go against some of the faces. That being some of his greatest rivals at the time were all faces, so it made sense. But yeah, how do you feel about that moment?
Now, obviously, the possibilities were endless once we got this. They didn't really deliver on those possibilities, and it wasn't the greatest heel run that we've seen, but the heel turn itself was an amazing moment, an amazing thing. The face turn that he did when he was smiling with Cody Rhodes and hugging him, so the face just changes in an instant. The Rock doing the animation, and just the whole thing in general, him just stepping on Cody with Travis Scott in the ring, and it was just such an insane moment that he was able to pull off, and they did the turn really well.
Yeah, and then the second moment we're going to give to you guys is going to be going back to where he first kicked off his career, basically, and that's with a Ruthless Aggression promo. A moment that would change the landscape at the time in wrestling to kind of kick off a new era with some of the previous legends like The Rock, Stone Cold kind of taking a step back, and now we have some new names like John Cena, like Triple H, like Randy Orton as well. So yeah, it kind of kicks off a new era where he would eventually, at the end of that era, kind of dominate.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him pretty much officially put an end to the Attitude Era, which is everyone says is their favorite era. It's the best era. So he had, a very high horse to kind of get over to kind of make this second era that he was introducing in as good, or at least, to be the best you can be in comparison to that, because the peaks of that were very, very high. We got some of the best matches, the best promos, and everything was, in general at the moment, we looked at it as very, very good. But the Ruthless Aggression Era, when it did come in, you arguably could say that it was better, and there is some people who do say that the Ruthless Aggression Era is better than the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an argument for which era you like best. I do think the Ruthless Aggression one sometimes goes a little bit underrated, I think, in terms of, like you said, pro wrestling and in-ring wrestling. And it's probably one of the better eras until this past couple of years. But, yeah, the Ruthless Aggression era is definitely, for to be kicked off by John Cena, a guy who, at the time, wasn't the biggest star just yet and wasn't really too much stakes behind him. To be the guy to kick it off is definitely something that sits synonymous with him.
No.
And another thing, when you talk about John Cena moments, you cannot talk about his 2008 Royal Rumble return. After coming back from a tricep injury just a few months prior, he would come back, return at number 30, and going to win that Rumble and set up a WrestleMania match. And yeah, this is something that I think obviously so surprising, because one is the number 30 entrance, so you had all these people come out for it to be Cena, and then also, like you said, the injury coming back so early. Yeah, just quite insane.
Yeah, I mean, John Cena, to be able to pull that off is kind of like, injuries nowadays, we kind of see people do that nowadays. You see, Kevin Durant get injuries, coming back from Achilles injuries. Jason Tatum, he'll likely come back from also an Achilles injury. So we see it in sports a lot. And so to see John Cena do it way back in 2008, before there was like all this like high-tech kind of things to make people just heal faster and medicine to make people heal faster, he was able to return that quick from a tricep injury. And obviously there's conspiracy theories on if it was actually torn or not, or whatever the case may be. But either way, it was an amazing moment, and yeah, it definitely worked.
Yeah, and another moment that happened this year is going to be him becoming a Grand Slam champion versus Dominic Mysterio, not only but also in Boston as well for one of his last Raw appearances. And yeah, I mean, it's something that John Cena should have done already at this point, but to finally do it in his last year of professional wrestling, I think is quite sweet as well.
Yeah, it was one of those kind of weird moments where, usually when John Cena would beat somebody who was very young, and everybody be like, oh my god, he's killing his career, he's destroying him, no one will ever grow in WWE. But it's a weird case with Dominic Mysterio because he could take as many losses as he wants, and it almost makes him stronger and better every time he does take a loss. And then the fact that he was able to lose twice to Cena, but then finally get that win back over him, it made Dom like someone who is basically a lock at this point that he will be a WWE World Champion, maybe even next year. If not next year, it'll be very soon after that.
Yeah, for do it against Dominic Mysterio is definitely a big opportunity and a big moment, and I'm glad he is the guy they had to do that for John Cena, because it's a lot better knowing it's Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, 100%.
And then now let's get into some matches, and we're going to kick off with one of my favorite matches, and that's going to be versus Edge at Unforgiven 2006, the one where he has him on top of a ladder and gives him an AA through multiple tables. And this is one of the first extreme matches we've seen of John Cena, and this one being Edge, a guy who is quite synonymous with some of the hardcore matches in WWE. So this one was a phenomenal match and World Championship match as well. So you have those stakes on the line as well.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite era of Edge around this time, where he was just kind of rising to the top of being like, he wasn't necessarily the guy who was like, people absolutely loved and they would go nuts for it just yet, but he was kind of on that build to get to that destination. He definitely got to that point, and this match was one of those matches that I guess it's kind of one of those things like Dominic as well, where it's like, even though you lost to John Cena, you lost in such an epic way, such a memorable way, that it definitely put over Edge in a different kind of way rather than him having to win the match.
Yeah, and then another crazy match from John Cena is going to be at Judgment Day 2005 in his I Quit match versus JBL. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll know it immediately when I say the face full of blood after he walks out with that world champion. And it's JBL, one of the hardest hitting guys, stiffest wrestlers in the WWE. Him versus John Cena, obviously, when you look at that final picture of Cena, it definitely shows how much his ass is going to beat. For a guy to be this big baby face and not some hardcore wrestler in his past, to take on this much punishment throughout the match is something that I think talks about John Cena's character.
Yeah, I think the whole feud in general with JBL was amazing stuff. We got the infamous moment where he kind of has the limo parked in the front and Cena goes up to it and spray paints JBL as poopy or whatever it was. It's kind of like a little funny, weird moment, I guess, for the PG era, but I kind of enjoyed that myself. But the whole feud with JBL was a very good one. It ended in that blood mess, that bloodbath that we got, as you mentioned, in the I Quit match. So it was just a very interesting time to be John Cena, because he was already kind of one of the top guys, but he's going through these insane matches like this. And during those times, there was not a lot of protection for the wrestler. So when they took big chair shots or steel steps or whatever the case may be, they were really kind of taking those licks. So very cool stuff to see in that match.
Yeah, and then the next one, the first time we seen John Cena heel, we thought was this year, but for one night we've seen him as a heel, and that was going to be at One Night Stand 2006 when he made his walkout versus Rob Van Dam. A moment that I think is one of the coolest moments ever, with John Cena holding the championship up, head down, walking through the crowd of people just flipping him off, throwing beers at him, throwing trash at him, but he makes his way to the ring. He has his respect for everything. He throws his shirt into the crowd, it gets thrown back, and it made for an incredible moment, and the atmosphere was definitely anti-Cena, so for RVD to go on to win that match is something that's very cool, and one of the coolest moments, I think, for picture-wise.
Yeah, I mean, that was just an incredible moment to witness. If you haven't watched that match, I definitely would tell you to go watch it just to see the crowd reaction to everything and how they erupted for any little move that Cena or RVD or anyone did. It was just an insane time in professional wrestling to see them back in the ECW arena. Of course, that's why he was getting all these cheers. And it was just a fun time in WWE, because they did have that ECW show going on, and it was one of my favorite shows. I absolutely loved it. At the start of CM Punk, and we've seen a lot of people kind of go from there and kind of rise to the top, or at least try to rise to the top. But yeah, I really love that era, and the fact that John Cena and RVD were able to bring back One Night Stand, a classic pay-per-view, and put on a classic match as well. It was definitely a cool moment to have.
Yeah, and then for the next one, we had the allegations of John Cena not being a true professional wrestler but could you go 60 minutes with one of the best professional wrestlers, Shawn Michaels? And that's what he did on a casual Monday Night Raw in 2007. These two would duke it out for over an hour, and yeah, it's one of the best John Cena matches, obviously, being with Shawn Michaels, but with the added 60-minute time limit, you have, so much to do, so of course it's going to be one of the better matches. But yeah, this is something I think about a lot when people say John Cena can't wrestle. He has a 60-minute match. Obviously, he's not going full pace for all 60 minutes, but it's something that to do for 60 minutes is definitely a test to how skilled you truly are.
Yeah, I mean, to put on a 60-minute match is one thing, but to put on an entertaining 60-minute match is another thing. We've seen, not a lot of people been able to do that. In AEW, we've seen it recently with Will Ospreay and MJF. They had a crazy match that lasted an hour, and it kind of kept your hype up the whole time. And this is one of those matches as well. We have one of the greatest of all time in Shawn Michaels, and someone who, we didn't look at one of the greatest at the time, but John Cena, who ended up being one of the greatest of all time, maybe even surpassing Shawn Michaels. Obviously, in terms of wrestling, Shawn Michaels would be levels ahead, but, in terms of just career and things he's done, John Cena is a huge part of that. Passed Shawn Michaels up in world title wins long ago, and yeah, it was just a crazy moment to see one of the greatest facing off against someone who would become one of the greatest as well.
Yeah, and one of my favorite moments of John Cena's career is going to be that U.S. Open challenge that he did in 2015, which would kind of bring up a new breed of stars. You had people like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn from NXT getting their first spotlight on the main roster. And yeah, John Cena would kind of have these matches and eventually would go on to lose the United States Champion to Kevin Owens a few months later. But yeah, this was the first time I had an experience with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, so being versus John Cena is something that I was very interested in at the time, a super Cena fan, and yeah, it's something that I think more people should do. We see it now with Sami Zayn, now we're seeing with Ilya Dragunov, and I hope that tradition continues with the United States Champion.
Yeah, the fact that we're still seeing it today just goes to show how impactful it was and how much people really do love that U.S. Open challenge and how much it meant to them.
Yeah, and then next one, you can't talk about John Cena moments now after he has had the 17th world title ship win, and yeah, it's something that I think obviously we've never seen nobody hit 16 besides Ric Flair, but now for somebody to beat that record, it's going to be very hard for somebody to do it. Obviously Randy's the next closest one who's still currently active, but it's something that we probably won't see broken anytime soon. There's not many people who can really keep on winning for this many years. Who knows how long people are going to stick around in wrestling nowadays. So yeah, in order to beat John Cena's record, you're going to have to stick around for 20 years and be at the top for at least 15 of those. So yeah, it's going to be really hard for somebody to ever break this.
Yeah, I don't think this record will ever be broken, and it probably shouldn't be broken for a very, very long time. I don't think there's, it has to be a certain type of person that'll win that many titles to be entertaining for that long and to make people want to see that many title reigns from them.
Yeah, and then another moment from John Cena that I think really sticks out is going to be his match with Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse, in a different concept at a time where you couldn't do full-on regular wrestling matches and you had to do the cinematic matches, and they made the most out of it and did something that was very unique. Some people probably won't like it, some people probably love it, and yeah, I think it does it sticks out a lot on Cena's resume and just this really cool visually match. A lot of cool things have come from this match in terms of clips as well. So yeah, some of that is so unique to be with John Cena, something that was really cool.
Yeah, we've seen him with the NWO gear on. We've seen Bray Wyatt with all his kind of puppets come to real life in a way. And yeah, it was just a cool match, a crazy match. And I don't think we'll ever see anything like that one again.
And then next, we have a time where we thought John Cena was gone forever. I forget what show this was at, but in the match versus Big Show chokeslammed Cena through a giant spotlight. The thing catches on fire, sparks go everywhere, and a moment that looked visually crazy and kind of thought, oh my God, what's happening to Cena now? And yeah, it's a pretty insane moment, and yeah, just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, this was just the moment of that, just seeing the sparks go flying, him fly through it from off the stage. It was a cool moment, especially coming from the Big Show, because when he lifts him up, he's obviously that much higher in the air because of the Big Show's height. But yeah, it was definitely a cool moment. You don't see too much stuff like that nowadays.
Yeah, and something that Cena did that would never be not talked about is going to be the introduction of the spinner belt, a thing that was really truly tested what the time period around it was, with people getting their big spinner rims. Cena had to put it on a championship belt after having a box of guts given to JBL, thrown it on him. He would pull down a spinner belt and show it off for the first time. And yeah, it's something that we would see go on for a few more years. And I think, to me, it's probably one of the most iconic looking WWE belts and one of my favorites personally as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique looking one. We have belts like the Winged Eagle, where you see kind of the top of it come off the belt a little bit, so it's unique in that way. But this one is obviously unique in a completely different way because there's a big spinner on it. But yeah, it definitely is one of those titles that only fits John Cena. Multiple people have carried that belt. We've seen Randy with it, we've seen Edge with it, and a few others as well. But yeah, he's definitely like a one of one. That belt is for you only kind of thing.
Yeah, and then the next one we're going to give you guys is going to be the moment where we have the announcement of John Cena retirement. Obviously, with John Cena being one of the most known people, not only in wrestling, but just in the world, the announcement of him retiring kind of shook not only the wrestling world, but modern media and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was something that took us a lot of people by surprise. And, yeah, it made out for a very interesting year. Not so good moments, but also some pretty fun ones as well.
Yeah, overall, the heel turn was good. As I mentioned earlier, I did enjoy more than I disliked, so there is a big positive in that. And yeah, the announcement of him just making that announcement at Money in the Bank was just crazy because people didn't really expect that. Well, when John Cena comes out, you never expect to hear him say he's going to retire. You expect, oh, I'm coming back and I'm going to face Roman Reigns, or I'm going to face Cody Rhodes, or whoever the case may be. Yeah, to say that he was going to retire this year, and the fact that we're this close, we're one match away this weekend, is definitely a crazy moment.
Yeah, and from the announcement of the end of John Cena to pretty much one of the kickstarters of his career is going to be the start of the Thuganomics gimmick. Somebody who would go on to be a rapper in the ring, kind of cut these crazy promos, and then eventually go on to have these, interesting matches. It's something that was very unique for the time, and it's definitely something that you probably won't see too often. We see people try to do little rapper gimmicks, like we see Max Caster do his little run to the start of matches, but when he's with the Acclaimed. But yeah, as a full-on rapper gimmick, is something that is definitely an interesting one and could definitely have flopped, but John Cena, being the man he is, made it work.
Yeah, I don't think many people could have made it work like John Cena has. The fact that he led it from that character into what he is known as today. Just the character transition is just insane, especially going from prototype to that, and just his whole career and just the arc of his career, because there's a lot of peaks, there's a lot of downs as well, but he was able to kind of always go back to the top at some point.
Yeah, and one of the biggest moments of Cena's career is when he made the jump from SmackDown to Raw for the very first time, and that was through the 2005 draft, where he was the #1 overall pick, being drafted to Raw on the Jericho show. Is something that is one of the coolest entrances. He comes out all hype, throws the belt up, the classic kind of end of the Thuganomics era, where he's still wearing the jerseys with the spinner belt. But yeah, it was such a cool moment, and it was kind of the first sign of like, okay, W really trusts this guy and really believes in him.
Yeah, I mean, they put him on the flagship show. They showed the world that, this is going to be the new guy. That's kind of, it was almost like SmackDown was almost the NXT at the time. It was almost like a call-up. But, it was crazy, though, because John Cena, it was only 2005, so he wasn't mega popular. Well, he was to a degree, I guess, but, he wasn't who he is today. But at the same time, people still believed in him, and whenever he was going into matches during that time, it did, at the time as well, feel like, oh, Cena's probably going to win that one, and it kind of just felt like he was the guy that would continue to go on to be, just like I said, what he is today. Like, you couldn't have projected that he would have won 17 world titles, but at the same time, if once you got to about 2006, 7, 8, you probably could have predicted, okay, this guy, he's going to go on to win a lot of world titles.
Yeah, and then now for our final moment, we're going to go back to WrestleMania 22 in Chicago, where John Cena made his mobster entrance. This is something that I think is one of the coolest visuals. You have the first car come out, and you see all these guys with Tommy guns hanging off the side. One of those men being CM Punk, which is something that I think is really funny to go on to, where he would go on to be one of Cena's best rivals. And then Cena comes out, he shoots the Tommy gun, fireworks start going off, and yeah, it's something that's super cool. Not many people have these crazy cool entrances, or something that's simple as just a cool gear, but this is something that's a full elaborate kind of setup.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the best entrances of all time, arguably. I mean, it's definitely on my list of top 5. I don't know where I would necessarily put it off the top of my head, but it's definitely up there. Just the fact that he came out with the Tommy gun and he's shooting it just looks visually very, very cool with the trench coat and the hat. We've seen action figures made out of it. We've seen people try to recreate it in different ways on like the indie scenes and stuff like that with funny kind of versions of that entrance. So yeah, it's been a cool time to see, entrances like that go from what it was to unfortunately what it is today, where it's a little bit dulled down. You don't see too many big spectacle entrances like that anymore. But the fact that John Cena was able to have not only this one, but he did have a couple others we could have put on this list as well if we really wanted to. So it just goes to show how much Vince McMahon believed in him and how much he put behind him, and he wanted to let the world know that this is going to be the guy that I'm going to put in front of your face, and this is the guy that's going to be your world champion whether you like it or not.
Yeah, but that will be 17 moments of John Cena's career that really stuck out to us. Yeah, obviously, like I said at the start, there's a lot of moments that we're going to be left out on this list, but this is stuff that we really enjoyed and stuff that we can kind of sit synonymous with us. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Let us know some of the moments that you have that we didn't mention down in the comments below, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We are still doing our December marathon, so make sure to have notifications on, and yeah, stay tuned for what we have next. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.